Can anybody play the drums?
Hello, friends. It is a brand new year. 1973. So again, I had nothing in mind for this one, so I did a lot of scouting around. I don't even remember who else I looked at for 1973. They all start to blend together. But I picked The Who playing live at the Cow Palace in San Francisco in November of 1973. This was not a great concert, but in terms of something that's entertaining, it definitely hits the mark. So this was the first show of their U.S. tour for the album Quadrophenia, which was another one of Pete Townshend's, complicated, long, double album rock operas. I'm not sure what year Tommy was released. One of the great things about The Who and about Pete Townsend in particular is the guy's an artist, pure and simple. He always seemed to me to be always pushing, doing something different, like always kind of operating at the edge of where music was and where his own capabilities were and where the capabilities of the band were. So Quadrophenia has, arrangements that have strings and synthesizers and other stuff, as did some of their music that came before that too. And the story that I heard is that Roger Daltrey didn't want any other musicians touring with the band. He just wanted the four members of The Who: Roger, Pete Townsend, Keith Moon, and John Entwistle. So they had to figure out how to do this somehow, how to pull off those songs live. And so they had started using backing tracks. And what I would assume is probably one of the earlier uses of this kind of thing. And now it's obviously super, super commonplace. Some bands can't play a show without having their laptop and the backing track. This was a little bit different, but Keith Moon had to play along to a click track and everybody had to then play along to that. And I'm not sure technically how he did it. In some later videos, he's got headphones actually duct taped to his head, but I don't think he does that here. But anyway, apparently they had played a couple of the shows in Europe, maybe in Britain, but this was the first stop of their North American tour. They were not well rehearsed and they had no real capacity to do it. So they went up there pretty cold. And as the story goes, Keith Moon was especially nervous because he was the one who had to play along to a click track. And if you pay attention to Keith Moon's drumming style, you can see why this would potentially cause him some issues, because the guy was a wild man.
He was such an enormous character. Yeah. Every facet of his personality was way out there. He was the most loving. He could be the most hurtful, the most spiteful, the most caring. It's all completely like fireworks.
So he was nervous, and he took some tranquilizers of some kind. The audio and video quality on this performance are terrible. Must have been shot with real pro cameras because they've got several different camera angles, and they switch back and forth, whatever. So I don't know where this video comes from. It's not in a lot of places on the internet, but it must exist somewhere where somebody got a hold of it. It was published in some form. I have no idea. Anyway, this would be a great project for Peter Jackson to clean this up and make it look better and sound better. All right, let's start off with Can't Explain, Who classic.
To 65, my generation.
Well, there's Keith Moon there, 3 songs in, still upright.
Our present act with our new album, or parts of it. We had a few problems and we've cut a few songs out. We do what's comfortable at the moment. Anyway, written by...
Yeah, there you go. So that's Roger Daltrey talking about how, they're not actually comfortable playing the whole thing at the moment, but they're going to give it their best shot, which is The Who, ladies and gentlemen.
Pete Townsend.
Pete Townsend wrote the whole thing, apparently.
Featuring a lot of effects through God. Quadrophenia.
Man, even with the bad audio quality, like the sound of Pete Townsend with a Les Paul through a Marshall stack just sounds so good to me. I don't know how people don't like this band. Never mind. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know why you don't like The Who, because I'm going to stay in my bubble. Great band. You can't even really hear the drums on a lot of this just because the audio is so bad. And this is right in the middle of 5:15. We got John Entwistle here in his skeleton shirt. That's what this video needs. All right. Not exactly the same, but close enough. Mine has a hood. I probably can't zip this up with the headphones on. I can still see out of this thing. There we go. Maybe I should do all my videos this way. I feel like there's gotta be like a good skeleton joke. I don't know, man. I got nothing. Anyway, John Entwistle, one of my favorite bass players. He's another one of these guys who can sound like he's in a progressive rock band when he needs to, especially, you know, when Pete Townshend is just kind of chomping away with the power chords. There's a big open space, or there's a solo going on. Like, Entwistle always seems like he knows exactly how to fill that. He's really, really good in a technical sense, but also in like just knowing when to like lay back and pump that big root note, and when to do something else, and when to like try to fill in. And these four guys in a band are like, I don't know whoever would have put them together. Like, Pete Townshend is Pete Townshend. Roger Daltrey, I think, is a fantastic rock vocalist. He's got a great range, great emotion. He's really distinctive. You can tell exactly who you're listening to when you hear him sing. Really, really good stage presence. And then Keith Moon, who, you know, kind of in the same way, like there are some parallels with Black Sabbath here in terms of a four-piece, including vocals as one of the pieces, with each of the musicians kind of having a different style, but when it blends together, it's so distinctive. You know, Keith Moon is as sloppy as it gets, I think, for a rock drummer. He is not John Bonham or Dave Grohl or Neil Peart or any of those guys. Like, he's Keith Moon. Really strange set of four different people to put together, but the chemistry, at least musically, works really well. What song? I forgot what song we're on. We're on 5:15. So there Keith Moon has his headphones on, so they're playing to a click track here. Wonder what they're talking about.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what usually happens in San Francisco is that we come here at the end of the tour. This time we've come at the beginning. And in England, there's no place bigger, I don't know what you could call it, I mean, bigger than our bloody hotel, if you like. And to come into a place like this, it really does your head in, but I think we're getting it together.
So there's Roger Daltrey basically apologizing for how sloppy things have been so far. And by this time, you know, Keith Moon's drumming is getting pretty erratic. Maybe that's what Pete Townshend was talking to him about. But, you know, these guys are The Who. They're going to just plow on through, I guess.
But this is for you, who came on the first night of our tour. Won't get fooled again!
All right, so there you can see Keith Moon behind the drums, and he's got his headphones on again. And they're key on this song. There are these really long passages where there is just a synthesizer, so he needs to be listening to the click track to know when to come in. So there should be drums by now. I don't hear any, but I still see Keith Moon upright back there. He's still back there. He's just not playing. I guess he's hitting some cymbals. At this point, I don't even know. What a train wreck. Yeah, there would be some drum fills and stuff like that going on here.
Just bear with us for about 3 weeks. We're just going to go and revive our drummer by punching him in the stomach and
none too happy.
Him an enema and he's out cold. I think he's gone and eaten something he shouldn't have eaten, like it's your foreign food. Yeah, I'm afraid the horrible truth is that without him, we're not a group. And well, you'll have to fucking wait.
All right, so Keith Moon out cold. They take a break and they try to revive him, and then they bring him back. All right, it looks like they're actually wrestling Keith Moon back onto the stage. It's
He's still a bit sort of dodgy. But he'll be all right. Take a bit.
all right. So they have wrestled him behind the drums. So he's back there hitting some wood blocks together. I guess that's something. There's Keith Moon's limp body on the drum set, getting hauled off again. This is one of my favorites, just because of the qualities of Roger Daltrey's voice on this. Sounds really good here live. Here's where there'd be a big build-up with the drums. Their harmony singing is really good live too, because Pete Townsend is a good vocalist, and so is John Entwistle, who there's a song they play on here. I'm not sure what the title is. Before I saw this concert, I did not know that was John Entwistle singing on that song. They all he kind of sounds like Pete Townsend to my ear anyway. 3 good vocalists, so they can definitely recreate the harmonies that you hear on Who albums. We should be applauding you.
Thank you. Roger Daltrey, Johnny Whistle, Mr. Moon, and I'd just like to say, I'm serious now. Let's forget all that.
He's not putting it on.
The clapping. He's had a slight touch of the, but he'll be all right. And I'd just like to thank you for waiting. I get that trouble. And can anybody play the drums? Can anybody play the drums?
Yeah, why the hell not?
I mean somebody good.
Well, it turns out that they did find somebody to play the drums, and his name was Scott. I'm going to bring Scott
We'll
up.
start to do some auditions.
Okay, there's Scott taking his place. Yep, shake hands.
Scott!
And Scott gets to end the show. It's take a bow. Amazing. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Who, 1973, Cow Palace, San Francisco, California. First U.S. show of the Quadrophenia tour. Absolute train wreck. You can really never go wrong with a Who live show, and even this one is entertaining. They've got some really, really good ones out there, and I think later on, one of them will almost certainly be one of my picks later on in the 70s, unless something really comes out of left field and knocks it out. But this is also interesting. Technically, I am not let's use a lot of effects and cue everything and have lots of backing tracks. One of my favorite bands as an adolescent and into college was Pink Floyd. I'm not pretty sure. I would be very surprised if they weren't doing some kind of synchronizing click track stuff for some of those productions in the mid to late 70s. But anyway, it just seems to me like it's okay when the Who do it, because when they did it, it was something new and ambitious and exciting, and they were pushing the boundaries like they always do. When I was talking about this concert with one of my friends, he said that the reason that Pete Townsend used to smash his guitar all the time was that he would get frustrated with kind of reaching the limits of his own capabilities as far as solos and things, and so he would act out. And there's one, I don't know whether it was Top of the Pops or something, where they made them play along to backing tracks, and as Townsend goes into his solo, they turned his guitar down, and he gets pissed off and starts destroying the drum set. Music keeps on playing, but the band is just standing around in this pile of debris. That kind of emotional acting out, like, it seems childish, but to me, it's a sign, or it's a symptom of someone who is performing or existing kind of at the edge of their artistic abilities and vision, and like being frustrated that they can't quite realize it, which is a very human thing. And as somebody who dabbles in arts myself, like, I get it. I totally get it. So the Who, 1973, they never disappoint. So check it out. I will leave the link to the concert below. And I already know who I'm going to do for 1974. For me, that one's a no-brainer. So hopefully I'll be able to get that one done relatively quickly. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.